There seems to be an endless gulf between the Christian church and the LGBTQ community. The average Christian doesn't understand how to relate or communicate with LGBTQ people and end up either sidestepping important questions or worse, they let their fear of the unknown cause condescension and hatred. Now, on the other side of the fence, many people in the LGBTQ community assume that because of their experience with the church or perception of the church is largely negative, that Christianity therefore could not possibly be true. What you believe about this conflict and why matters. Instead of being comfortable with assumptions and stereotypes, we should diligently search for answers. Here are 3 Christian books about LGBTQ+ that you should read. Can You Be Gay and Christian by Michael Brown. You may recognize Dr. Brown as the author of Authentic Fire in response to John MacArthur's Strange Fire in defense of the Christian charismatic movement. Those in the Strange Fire camp may be surprised to see just how exhaustive, scholarly, and well-formulated the ideas and works of Michael Brown are. His book, Can You Be Gay and Christian, is an excellent resource for exegetical insight into what the Bible really teaches about LGBTQ+ issues. If you're looking for clear answers to complicated questions with biblical evidence to back it up, this book is for you. The next book is Love Thy Body by Nancy Pearcey. If you don't know who Nancy Pearcey is, you should. She's one of the most influential female apologists of our time. She's a 2-time winner of the ECPA Gold Medallion Award and was hailed by The Economist as America's preeminent evangelical Protestant female intellectual. She currently serves as professor of apologetics at Houston Baptist University and the World Journalism Institute. Her book, Love Thy Body, garnered a lot of attention and praise in 2018. But Pearcey's book isn't just about homosexuality. It's also about transgenderism, euthanasia, and abortion. That's because Nancy has tied all of these threads together in a thought-provoking theology of the body. The core argument of Pearcey's book is driven by Francis Schaeffer's 2-story house analogy. Imagine reality as a house divided in 2 stories. In the lower story, we find material existence, mathematics, science, reason, and data. In the upper story, we find religion, art, morality, and absolute truth. And our postmodern society generally regards the lower story as common ground and the upper story as a private affair. Nancy argues that the underlying problem with society is the unwarranted segregation between the 2 stories, especially in regard to the human body. If you're looking for a crash course in philosophy that looks at LGBTQ issues through a wide lens, then look no farther than Pearcey's Love Thy Body. By far the most exhaustive and sometimes exhausting book that I've read on this topic was All But Invisible by Nate Collins. I say exhausting because Collins leaves no stone unturned, but we'll get to that in a minute. Nate Collins is currently a partner associate at the Sight Ministry, which is a Christian organization based in Nashville that offers resources and support for individuals, families, and Christian organizations regarding LGBTQ+ issues. He has also served as instructor on New Testament interpretation at the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary. Although he has been married to his wife Sarah for 13 years, and they have 3 children together, his vested interest in LGBTQ+ issues stems from his own homosexual orientation and the struggles that he has faced. In his book, All But Invisible, Collins highlights and explores the intersection between faith, gender, and sexuality through an array of lenses, such as theological, psychological, historical, sociological, and political. When Collins introduces a new idea or asks a new question, he breaks it down from every possible angle until a reasonable conclusion is reached. Often, Collins will address a topic by suggesting several points to consider, and then dig deeper by suggesting several points to consider regarding the previous points. This exhaustive manner in which Collins writes leads to many unexpected or previously unexplored areas that a lot of Christian literature doesn't tread. Although biblical exposition is present, so are discussions on feminism, modern gender theory, identity politics, and civil rights activism. But what is most surprising about All But Invisible is the ever-present pastoral care, compassion, and encouragement that should be the mark of any Christian material. This is as much a Christian living book as it is a guide to navigate the LGBTQ+ landscape. Colin's heart shows through every page and invites readers to see what is all too often invisible. And now for a few honorable mentions. Transgender by Vaughan Roberts and Is God Anti-Gay by Sam Alberry are great introductory reads that are short and concise. What Does the Bible Really Teach About Homosexuality by Kevin DeYoung is another helpful resource for diving into the biblical perspective on LGBTQ. Although it isn't a small book, it is a shorter read than Can You Be Gay and Christian? Lastly, the chapter Anti-Homosexual in the book Unchristian by David Kinnaman uses research from the Barna Group to help Christians see the perspective that our general culture has towards the church and why it matters. What all of these books have in common is that they each teach a traditional Christian sex ethic, namely that sex is to be enjoyed between one man and one woman in a monogamous Christian marriage. As our culture continues to challenge this view, it's important for Christians to be well informed on how to respond in truth and love. One difficulty in communicating and connecting with homosexuals is how easy it is to misunderstand them. And unfortunately, we encountered significant resistance among some Christians to having their views about gays and lesbians challenged. Apparently, they have already made up their mind that they have nothing to learn. Refusing to understand the complexity of these issues is not loving to others, and it's not honoring to God. It is our privilege and responsibility to build bridges, to listen, to comfort, and to love everyone no matter what. In his sermon, The Weight of Glory, C.S. Lewis reflects on the holy calling of every Christian to relate to others in a manner that reflects their incalculable dignity and worth in the sight of God. In the words of Lewis, the load or weight or burden of my neighbor's glory should be laid on my back, a load so heavy that only humility can carry it, and the backs of the proud will be broken. It is a serious thing to live in a society of gods and goddesses, to remember that the dullest and most uninteresting person you could talk to may one day be a creature which, if you saw it now, you would be strongly tempted to worship, or else a horror and a corruption such as you now meet, if at all, only in a nightmare. All day long, we are, in some degree, helping each other to one or other of these destinations. There are no ordinary people. You have never talked to a mere mortal. Nations, cultures, arts, civilizations, these are mortal, and their life is to ours as the life of a gnat. But it is immortals whom we joke with, work with, marry, snub, and exploit. Immortal horrors and everlasting splendors. The sad reality is that many gay people in conservative churches already think of themselves as immortal horrors. I wonder what would happen if Christians treated them instead as the everlasting splendors that they might become.